Space Coconut.
Okay, so let's have a chat about Thanatophobia, its buff, its nerf, and why the devs are in trouble when it comes to creating perks for new killers. So many of us were excited about the changes that were coming to Thanatophobia, and all of us were thinking about how to combine it with the other perks, especially Sloppy Butcher, to slow the game down enough to matter with the healing changes and stuff. But apparently the combination with Thanatophobia and Sloppy Butcher made heals like 57 seconds, or it was a ridiculous amount of time to heal. So the problem is that we have so many perks now that the devs have to think about their impact when combining with all of the other perks. And since the perks really only fall into 3 different categories, it's much harder to come up with a new idea while they try to keep balance in the game. And I think the problem comes down to, at the very beginning, Dead by Daylight was never that complicated of a game. It was a very simple premise. You had a killer, you had a survivor, you had a few abilities, and then you went at it. But as the years went by, they added new killers, and each killer came with 3 new perks. Each of those perks, some were more powerful than others, some outclassed some older perks, and those of us who look at the really weak perks and would like to see them buffed, we fail to see that when they're combined, or we take advantage of the fact that when they're combined with other perks, the effects can be really, really powerful. So while it's fair that Thanatophobia isn't as powerful as it was in the PTB, we still have a problem with an underpowered perk and a situation which is the gen rush, or the speed at which gens are finished in a match, and the desire to try and slow it down by any means necessary, in whatever way we can, even if that means stacking up effects with one particular goal in mind. So the problem, the Thanatophobia nerf and change and all of that stuff, and what they're trying to do with healing, we have no idea what they're doing, but Horvath said there's more upcoming healing changes. That there's so much stuff going on, and these systems are so intertwined that every time they add new perks, they give themselves more problems, and it's ridiculous. And the problem is that, like I mentioned before, there's only 3 categories. That's the word I was looking for. There are only 3 categories, at the minimum, that these perks can fall into. There are tracking perks, which help you find survivors. There are disruption perks, which directly affect survivors and, in an attempt to cause them problems. And there are utility perks that mostly affect the killer, trying to make the match a little bit easy for them. And we have many more disruption perks than the others. I didn't count, but you have a list right in front of you. You can see this. Some of them overlap. Like what is it? Rancor. Rancor can also double a little bit as tracking, but I put it as utility, because I personally mostly use it for the Mori at the end. So, this list isn't, absolute, but you get what I'm trying to do here. And so the problem is that when the devs are trying to create a new killer, they can only add a perk or perks that fit within these 3 categories. And because they're so limited on this, everything overlaps in one way or the other. And when they're stacked together, they get an effect that's more powerful than the devs originally intended, because they design a single perk to serve a single purpose. So like Thanatophobia is weak, but when it's stacked with Sloppy Butcher, the mangled and the healing effects, they stack up, and it can become too powerful. the more perks they add, the more problems they give themselves. And I'm not sure how they can fix this. It's just a tangled mess. Thanatophobia and the perks are not the problem with the game. They're a symptom. The core problem is just the base mechanics of the game. And the problem is that the devs are spending so much time creating new killers and new perks and using perks to fix core mechanics that they're not spending time actually fixing the game. If they fixed the game, if they balanced the core of the game, the perks wouldn't be much of a problem. Spirit Fury is a perk that, blows up a pallet when a killer's stunned with it. And the original, forum posts were people calling for a nerf to pallets, or a way to blow the pallets up, or something to deal with the number of pallets that were on each map. The chases, although the devs say or want to make the chase the focus, some of these chases are not fun, and that's a problem. So to take care of this core mechanic problem, they sold us a perk. The same can be said for Coulrophobia, because I remember being chasing a survivor who would heal in front of my face at every pallet. They would run to a pallet, start healing. You'd have to break it, they'd run away to the next pallet, and they'd heal, and they'd heal, and they'd heal. And eventually they would heal themselves to full, and you'd have to hit them again, and you'd have to do the same thing all over again. Coulrophobia was, one of those perks that they sold to us. Rancor might have been created to deal with Decisive Strike before they decided to fix it. Hangman's Trick, something set up so to deal with the sabotage meta that we used to have, that we no longer have, so Hangman's Trick is a completely useless perk. Fire Up to deal... I can't believe I'm talking about Fire Up. Fire Up to deal with how quickly the gens went, trying to find a way to catch up. Or come from behind. It's ridiculous how many of these should have been core mechanics, at least watered down to deal with the core mechanics of the problem. And Thanatophobia is weak because they're only looking at it as though all 4 survivors are going to be injured at the same time. Many of us who play these games, these matches, know that survivors heal during the match. To get the most out of Thanatophobia, the benefits need to be at 1 and 2 tokens. But I'm rambling. This makes me upset, and I understand. I understand why Thanatophobia can't be buffed. I get it, because nobody wants to stare at the meter for so long with Sloppy Butcher and Thanatophobia. But the problem is that these devs keep trying to fix the game with perks instead of actually fixing the base of the game. And it might actually be too late. Many of us, love killer season, new chapter season. When we get the new killer, we get the new perks, and we get to see our new toys, we can play with stuff. It's basically our Christmas, right? But now the devs have us on this system, and their marketing and their financials are based now on our consumption of the new chapters and the new cosmetics that come with these chapters. They can't change the system anymore, and now every single time they get a new perk, it's going to be weak, it's going to be dumb, it's not going to be okay, maybe that's not fair. So Infectious Fright, it's bugged. It showing the aura, I guess, is too powerful. It would have been neat. If they're close by, you get a little ping. That's nice. You get a little idea. But if the survivor's good at hiding, it's not going to help. Corrupt Intervention, it's like a guaranteed ruin for 2 minutes. But not really, because any survivor can go and work on the other gens, until that time's up. It's Corrupt Intervention kind of feels like it's basically saying, okay, so you can't start on your gen that's closest to you, but you can walk a little bit further and find another gen to work on. So if instead of walking for what, 2, 3, 4 seconds, getting to a gen working on it, they have to walk for what, 10, 12 seconds? I don't know. So corrupt intervention, it sounds amazing, right? But I think it's a waste. Dark devotion, it just sounds like a neat toy. It sounds like something that's going to make the matches more interesting for both the survivor and the killer, while it doesn't help a killer, slow the gens down or take out survivors or any of these things. It just seems like fun. It seems like a something that would be fun. And while fun is in, I don't know, it just seems fun. I don't, it's not that useful unless you're gonna, just use it for fun, as I keep saying. And so the problem is that any perks that we get from here on out are going to be like Thanatophobia. They're going to be like Fire Up. They're not going to be powerful. They're not going to be strong. They're not going to be game changing. And in the end, it's not going to be really good for Dead by Daylight. I don't know. Maybe I'm just in down mode. I'm in doom and gloom mode because I want the core of the game to be balanced, to be fixed, without perks being a necessity. It would be amazing if perks like Dark Devotion, if the perks were like Dark Devotion, where they didn't affect the game, but they affected the interaction between the survivors and killers in a unique and interesting way, rather than just trying to slow each other down or stop each other. I think that more perks like Dark Devotion after the core is fixed would be amazing. But like I said before, it might be too late. The devs are painting themselves into a corner with all of these perks and with the 3 perk, package we get with every new chapter. And clock's ticking, and they don't have much more room to grow. Let me know what you think of this ramble. I'm trying something new, and I might do more discussions and things like that. If I can get ahead on videos, I'm going to remake and create a new hag guide. This will be broken up into sections, so it's easier to digest than an entire 30-minute video. So look forward to that in the coming months, because that son of a biscuit is going to take some time. And especially because I got full-time work, I got my graphic design thing, I got a job with the city for the graphics thing. They want me to make a map for the city. It's great. I might get more jobs from that. I don't know. My fiance moved in. We're dating for the first time in 4 years, because now we closed the distance of 400 miles, so that's nice. Yeah. Well, maybe it was 280, 300 miles, something like that. But anyway, I have a lot going on. So the videos will probably be more like this. Because I want to do daily videos, but unfortunately the quality suffers, and I'm debating. I'm thinking about breaking it up into, maybe 2 or 3 times a week. This way I have some breathing room and I can make a better video. I don't know. I definitely need your suggestions on this one. I had an older suggestion talking about saying I should take questions from you guys, which I think I'm going to do. So leave a question, kind of anything, I guess, and we'll chat about it. We'll also have more discussions like this. So if there's anything you want me to think about, or if there's anything you want me to talk about, yeah, leave a question, and I'll do another ramble video like this. In the meantime, I'll see you in the fog.